All right. Hey, friends. Yesterday we did a little review of order of operations just to make sure you know what has to happen first, next, last, all that good stuff. Today we're going to start looking at putting some situations into expressions, algebraic expressions. You guys, expression just means it's basically like an equation without the equal sign. That's it. So it just doesn't have an equal sign. And instead of saying solve, because there's no equal sign, they'll tell you to evaluate. Okay. So we're looking at situations, how we can represent those as expressions or sometimes equations. And so we're going to take a look at a couple together. We're going to be working on some when we're together in class as well. And then you're going to have a chance to write some today. All right. Okay. The Ramirez family is making tamales. They wrap the tamales in corn husks for baking. They already have 8 corn husks. Isabella is bringing 3 bags of corn husks. Each bag has the same number of corn husks. How can you use an algebraic expression to show the total number of corn husks they will have? All right. We're missing some information in this problem, which is we don't know how many corn husks are in the bag. And when we've got information that's missing like that, we're going to use a variable to 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 stand for that, right? To stand for that spot. I'm talking. I don't need you. There we go. So you can see I did it with algebra tiles down here, right? So there's 8 plus the 3 bags. Notice I don't know how many are inside those bars. We don't know how many are in the bags. We could also think the number of that they have. They have 8 plus 3 times the number in the bag. So when I'm going to write that with a variable, it'd be 8 plus 3. Whoa, that is not a 3. Plus 3 times the number in each bag. I'm going to say B stands for the number of corn husks in each bag. If you wanted to use X or Q, sure, go for it. Probably don't use L because that looks like a 1. Also, O's we don't use very often because they look like zeros. So, but really any other letter will do, right? That's how we rate those expressions. So here's another one. Gaspar, writes the expression 5b plus 3 and 79 hundredths. It represents the total cost in dollars of buying 5 bagels and a container of cream cheese. Identify, here we go, we've got a little vocabulary here. Identify the variables, coefficients, and terms in this expression, and we're going to tell what each of them means. All right, so we talked about variables earlier. Here, my variable is right there. A variable is just a letter that we're using to stand for an unknown quantity. In this case, the unknown quantity is how much does the bagel cost? So how much per bagel? We don't know if it's $1 per bagel or it's like some fancy bagel shop and it's like $3 per bagel. I don't know. We don't know that, right? This word coefficient, this right here is a coefficient. You will hear that more and more as we move. This is cool. I don't know how to spell it. C-I-E-N-T. There's an extra something in there. Okay. Coefficient, you'll hear that word more and more as we move through some more algebra, and especially next year when you're in pre-algebra. Basically, it's a number that's next to the variable. When they are right next to each other like that, it means that they're being multiplied. So they bought 5 bagels, so it's going to be 5 times the cost per bagel. And then this last one right here, this is just called a term. Those are some other pieces, right? In this case, it's how much the cream cheese costs. The cream cheese costs $3.79 no matter how many bagels you buy. It just costs that much. That one isn't dependent on the variable there, okay? Whew, lots of vocabulary. All right, friends, you are going to start kind of writing some of these out, trying to take a situation, or sometimes I just give you words and you're putting them into numbers and symbols, right? You're kind of translating a situation or translating words into math expressions.